Hey everyone, Restless Gardener here on a rather dreary day, but sometimes dreary days are better for filming because that sun can interfere. So just want to get a quick video out. Been busy at work lately, so I haven't had a chance to make too many videos. So today is June, actually not sure, I think maybe 22nd. And a lot of stuff's blooming now. So let's just take a quick look around and see what's blooming. Obviously you can see the oak leaf hydrangea, but I just want to take a quick look at this container because it's really popped in the last couple of weeks. The pretty lavender pentas and obviously the pink verbena. I thought the pentas was going to get a little bit taller, but I don't know, maybe not. Anyway, it's still pretty. There's Supertunia bubblegum, Supertunia fuchsia. They're looking good. I don't think they get enough sun here, so they're not getting as big as they should maybe, although they've only been in the ground for a couple of weeks. Obviously, I need to cut my alliums back. They've been done for several weeks now. Dahlia Mystic Spirit, definitely in bloom. I think last year in the fall, late summer, fall, it looked a little bit more vibrant. I think, I don't know, every year this one looks different. I've had it in the ground now for several years, and I think last year was the most vibrant. Like what the picture showed when I ordered it. It's still pretty. I just think the flowers look more beautiful and vibrant when it's maybe more sunny and hot. We had a very cool spring and now kind of cool start to the summer. Maybe it'll pop once it gets hotter in July and August, if it gets hotter. Not sure. The weather's been a little crazy this year. Oak leaf hydrangea in beautiful bloom. This had been wilting. It was so dry. In this area, right adjacent to our patio and fireplace, it tends to be drier anyway. We actually had to water this a couple of times in the last few weeks. I've never had to do that before. The Stachy's Himelo are all blooming. We've got a lot of these planted throughout the yard. They're really low maintenance perennial, and I'm thinking about getting a couple more to move up to an area where we just have shrubs and no color, so I might have to get some more of those. The Blue Jangles, or Blowjang, I think it's called Blue Jangles, is pink, which is fine. I prefer blue, but the pink is fine. Nice small hydrangea for a small location. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see, the edges of that bloom look a little lavender. But the flowers here are definitely pink. I think the first year we planted it, it was blue. But more stackies here. Lilies haven't bloomed yet. Those lilies. These are blackberry lilies. But I'm not sure if these are oriental or Asiatic, but those are definitely blooming. Veronica is blooming. This phlox, I forget what this is called. Clearly that one's blooming. Echinops are blooming, and there's actually a bee on that one. A bit breezy out today. But these have gotten really tall since we got rid of that Rose of Sharon. This garden is going through some changes, and it's obviously not there yet, but there's another blackberry lily with buds. Obviously we planted the 4 arbs. And I really want some roses in front here and some delphiniums and more foxgloves. I don't think that's going to happen this year. We just have too many other things going on. Pretty jam. We lost one this year. There used to be another one right here. So now that we only have one, and I don't remember where we got this, that's going to end up getting moved, I think. Foxglove is done, but I've learned that if you want it to self-seed, you should leave it standing, so I'm going to leave it standing in hopes that we get more. I originally planted 3. This is the only one that actually, and not that the others didn't survive, I guess I just cut them back and didn't let them self-seed, so This Veronica incana is done blooming. I'm not sure if I should cut it back or not, but the clematis is doing well. I think it's doing better this year than it's done in a lot of years because it's been so cool. And these phlox have gotten large, so it's shading. They're shading the roots of the clematis, which is what the clematis likes. And it looks like got some kind of lily growing back here. I'm not sure what that is because I don't recall having any lilies back here. It could be a stray, one of those tiger lilies that tends to seed itself all over the garden because there are some here too. They always add a nice pop-up color, although we've tried to remove them. They just keep coming back, as well as the swamp milkweed. It's a little bit more of a wild look than I want for inside the fence here, but it is good for the monarchs, and you just can't get rid of it, to be quite honest with you. We have some bee balm that, as this in here gets a little bit shadier, they get smaller every year. And the reason why it's shady is because of this massive laurel. I did do a little bit of a cut back last week, but it needs to be cut back more. Rose has some pretty blooms. Needs to be treated. And I just don't get out here often enough now with my job to get this stuff treated. Here's some more. This is butterfly weed. The geranium purple hue is pretty, and this one keeps reblooming, which I like because some of the other geraniums that I have, perennial geraniums, don't seem to rebloom. A lot of the alliums have little buds on them. These ones are getting ready to bloom. Little baby buds there, baby blooms. Let's see what else is blooming up here. Oh, for example, here's a espresso geranium which bloomed and it's just done now. I haven't cut anything back because I think I cut stuff back last year and it didn't rebloom. So up here we have the lime ricky hydrangeas are full of flowers. They're a little bit smaller this year, but I think that's because we moved them from down there in front of the fence. But just look at all of those hydrangea flowers. And of course, the third one we just planted, or we had just ordered this year, so it's smaller, but it will catch up. Might as well take a walk down here. You can see we have more stackies. Coneflower getting ready to bloom. These are the stackies I want to move because they're just kind of random right here, and this top of this wall is going to go through some changes too. So I just want to move them. Some more coneflowers that I think I want to move these two. I mean, they're beautiful, all these colors. I just want to try to get a little bit more of a, I don't know if I want to necessarily call it a formal look up here on top of this retaining wall, but I want to do something a little bit more formal. So we'll have the 3 lime rickeys where these sneeze weeds and prairie dropseed grasses are. I'd like to do something different. Maybe just 3 or 4 lemon squeeze pennisedums, because I think they would look nice with the lime rickeys. And then down the end here, as much as I don't want to plant butterfly bushes, some kind of butterfly bush with the color of the stacky flower, and a sterile one, like a Miss Molly or a Miss Violet or a Miss Ruby. I think those are all sterile. So that way we just have 4 butterfly bushes, get rid of the lariat bee, 4 lemon squeeze pennisedums, and then the 3 hydrangeas. I just think that makes a nicer, more formal look when you just have a couple of plants planted in mass. I've learned that over the years. I'm not making the same mistakes I used to make in gardening. But the Endless Summer Twist and Shout is just always gorgeous. I'm so glad I have blue flowers on this, and that's because it's under a massive spruce tree. so the soil is acidic up here. But look at the blooms. I just am in love with the color of these flowers. This has to be my favorite hydrangea. And it looks really nice with the pink of the stachy's flower. These hydrangeas have gotten a little bit bigger than I expected. I cut them back, but they're still kind of big and overtaking stuff. But that's okay. Stackies aren't quite as in bloom up here because this area doesn't get as much sun. And then what else is in bloom? The Durvilla looks pretty with its little yellow flowers. This is Durvilla Kodiak Orange. And these have gotten massive. Everything always gets bigger than it's supposed to. I have tried to prune them down a little bit, but I didn't want to cut off the blooms. So I'll come back in here once they're done blooming. Give them a bit of a cut back, especially so that some sun can get into the middle. Of course, the daylilies are in bloom, the stelladoros, Walker's Low catmint. Always gets kind of floppy for us because I just don't think we have enough sun. It blooms profusely and looks beautiful. It just gets kind of floppy here. But this is where I want to move the stackies because there's just shrubs up here. So I thought in the back there, put some stackies. I just have a couple of pots planted up with some pumpkin spice heuchera and some white petunias for now. But I thought if I put stackies in the back up there against the wall, and in this open space in front of the 3 brass buckle ilexes, some low-growing perennial, that would look nice there. And it would be the same on this side because it's an identical space over here, the same kinds of plants. So I would do the same thing in the back there. And Coreopsis is blooming. It's another low-maintenance plant you don't really have to do anything to. I think this is either Moonbeam or Zagreb. I can never remember. It's planted so long ago. The Heliopsis, what hasn't gotten eaten. I mean, you can see some of the buds are just plucked right off, probably deer. These ones are blooming. They're so pretty. Nothing really blooming over here. Some coneflowers getting close to blooming. This went through some massive changes too. There was a big patch of Joe Pye weed here, which we moved up to the rain garden. I'm not sure what I want to do in there. I thought maybe some hydrangeas, but we have the 2 hydrangea standards, which are getting ready to bloom. So I'm not sure I want to put another hydrangea here. I'm not sure what I actually want to do back here. Our blue lobelia has not done well. I don't know what is wrong with it. It appears to be rotting right out of the ground, which doesn't make sense because we've had no rain. Maybe that's how they react to dry soil. So I'm not sure. Here is a look at the catmint from the top. It looks a little bit dull today in this weather, but it generally tends to be a very bright pop of blue. As you can see, the blue lobelia spreads itself all over. The only reason why I haven't pulled those ones is because if these 3 are going to die, well, then at least I have those down there. I don't think there's anything blooming over there. Here's the other hydrangea standard, full of buds. More daylilies. I really do think this stand of echinaceas is the prettiest we have in the garden. Gets more sun here, so that's why they're blooming. They're just beautiful oranges, pinks, fuchsias. I just really think I want something a little bit more formal up here. Something planted en masse. The color all season. Because obviously the sneeze weeds over here don't bloom until the end of the year, end of the season, August. So just look at green. And they actually look like they've been nipped too. I don't know if that's deer though. I don't know. Or groundhogs maybe. I'm not sure. Anyway, I just do think that if we just had three of something up here planted, along with the, I'm not making myself very clear, if we had just the 3 hydrangeas down here, then in the middle the lemon squeeze pennisetum, and then at the end a butterfly bush. So just 3 plants, but planted in mass. I feel like this would look nicer to me. Things planted in mass just give the eye someplace to rest. And right now it's just a jumble of stuff. Say hi to Pumpkin. Obviously she sees, or thinks she sees, something in the stone wall. Piece of grass hanging out of your mouth, girl. There's some more containers. The salvia is blooming. Beautiful pink petunias, the white bacopa. Over here we have the purple angelonia, euphorbia, diamond frost, and the vermillionaire. I haven't seen too many hummingbirds on that yet. They love the vermillionaire. This one is a beautiful dark red dahlia, the black petunia, some more purple angelonia, and a super bells that I can't remember the name of at the moment. Guess I need to come out here and cut some of those spent blooms off, but they do look beautiful. Penstemon is kind of on the ground because of the rain, but that's just the straight species. The digitalis, kind of past its prime a little bit. Digitalis there. Some more alliums. I think we're going to try to get this weeping red bud to grow up slightly more by tying it to the deck, the thickest part here, and hoping that it will grow straight up a little bit more. Otherwise, we're going to have to move our alliums underneath here. It's gotten a little bit wider than it has gotten tall, which it's supposed to do, but it's supposed to be 4 feet tall and 4 to 6 feet tall, and I'd rather it be taller than it is at the moment. There's our hay rack on our deck, some yellow zinnias, some more super bells, and another salvia, which isn't blooming yet. I planted those a little bit later. Suncredible Saturn sunflower, peach verbena, and some more salvia. Not enthralled with the Suncredible Saturn. It's supposed to have pretty red interior on those flowers, or at least orange, and it just hasn't gotten it. So I hope it was marked correctly. Really wanted one of these last year and couldn't get it. Finally was able to get one this year, and it's just not what I expected it to be. And I actually saw another YouTuber say something about that. I think it was Garden Crossings, maybe? So, not sure about that. Another container. The red petunia, variegated leafed geranium with the orange flower. And kind of like a lime colored dichondra. I really like that combination. See, we got our tomato and pepper growing there. Trifolium rubens. Those are blooming. I think they're a little bit past their bloom. The herb garden is just exploding. The germander is, we cut that back every year, and every year it just explodes. Beautiful little hedge around the herb garden. Got the drops of Jupiter oregano which I kind of thought about moving up to that spot where I said I wanted the lemon squeeze penicetum, but I don't think the drops of Jupiter gets tall enough to fill the space on top of the wall there. We have some pretty cut and come again zinnias that I planted in here just for a little pop of color because everything's really green. These ones are really bright over there, and over there. And then we have the phenomenal lavender in the urn. Pretty. Smells amazing when you rub up against it. And the phenomenal lavender performs much better in Pennsylvania than other lavenders. Looks like the Shasta daisies are getting ready to bloom. Lots of buds on there if they don't get eaten by the deer. The little Henry Iteas are slightly past their prime. We have some more stackies here, and the Caradonna salvias are a little bit past their prime as well. I don't know if you can see in the background. That is the Boom Chocolata geranium back there. Can you tell I like purple? It's one of my favorite colors in the garden. The Perfect Storm hibiscus, obviously they're not blooming yet. That's going to be another month at least. Another oak leaf hydrangea. This is a munchkin. We planted another one here because we lost one last year. So that's covered right now to protect it. Lots more daylilies. Another salvia. Gomphrena. Kind of a coppery colored dahlia there. Let's see. Oh, I see some bee balm blooming down here. These alliums also need to be cut back. The bush clematis, the Stand By Me bush clematis, blooming back there. A random echinacea. We moved the echinaceas from this bed, but clearly this one got left behind. So we'll have to remove that one. I have one darling clementine coreopsis left. Really pretty orange. I haven't been able to find another one of these. We had 3 of them here, and unfortunately landscapers killed the other 2 because they're just not careful when they do the mulch. This is the Jacob Klein bee balm. Quite the spreader. Pretty red. And over on the other side we have some variegated iris blooming. The Amsonia is getting past its prime now. That was really long blooming, this one over here. Much longer blooming than the one we have in the front rain garden, which has been done for a few weeks. You can see everything's just green now. So that Amsonia bloomed a lot longer. Our chokeberry actually has berries on it this year. I think this is the first time. They do look like blueberries. I have to make sure to keep that one well watered because I feel like chokeberries want a lot of water, and we've had such dry summers lately that it doesn't get a lot of water, and then it gets stressed and it gets spotted and it gets full of Japanese beetles, which I don't like. Yarrow. Again, I used to have 3 here, and the landscapers killed them by covering them. Every year we use a plant or 2 due to landscapers' carelessness. Why do I still pay them to do my mulch? Well, because we do 20 yards of mulch, and it's just too much. We don't have the equipment to be dragging that all over our yard. And it's soon to be more, probably even 24 yards, so that's why we just pay the landscaper. So yeah, I feel like if you see from this direction, this part of the wall, I mean, I guess this looks okay, right? There's stuff planted in mass, grouping, but then down here we get a little bit more random, and I just want it to look less random and more formal. So that's why I want to move these stackies. There's 4 of them here, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll get a couple more at work. Put them in the front of the wall to provide some color back there, and then in between the 3 brass buckle hollies on either side, I would like to do pink and blue balloon flowers, which stay a little small. And I would move those pots with the pumpkin spice. Zoom in on that. Pumpkin spice heucherella, because obviously pink and blue is going to clash with that. I'd find someplace else for those. But that's how everything's looking right now. I think the biggest show are the stackies and the endless summer twist and shout hydrangeas. And the lime ricky hydrangeas too. I mean, they're full of blooms. They're just, like I said, not as big this year because we moved them. So I think that set them back a little bit. I mean, they're covered in blooms, but last year the blooms were much bigger. Like your typical mop head, even though that's not a mop head. It's a hydrangea arborescens, but the flowers are mop head flowers. But they do make a nice hedge once that one grows up and fills in. That will be a nice hedge. So anyway, I just wanted to come out, do a quick tour of what's blooming in June, which right now is mostly stackies, daylilies, the coreopsis, the heliopsis, some of the coneflowers, and some of the hydrangeas. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Oh, and the catmint is blooming too. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.